Hey, what's up, everybody? Back with another Reddit Ask Me Anything with the champion, Dave the Redneck Mundell. How you doing, sir?
Doing all right yourself?
I'm great. Where'd you get that cowboy hat at?
Um, Honestly, not sure. I've had it for
Oh,
a long time now, so it's just been around.
okay. So I'm going to start it out. I was talking to another BKFC champion, and he wants to fight you, but it's a different kind of fight. So the 145-pound champ Kai Stewart wants to be the king of the BKFC fishing, and he is challenging you to see who would be who's a better fisherman.
Listen,
Do you
I'll
accept?
blow his ass out the water. He wants to come down here. It's without question.
You know, he already challenged Connor that he wants to go for the world, but he wants to go for the king of the United States fishing, the golden hook that BKFC will have to create the thing the belt for, but they do that, so I mean, it's no big deal.
Yeah, down here in the saltwater fishing a little bit different than freshwater, and I don't think he stands a chance.
No, he's a good dude. He's like, oh yeah, tell him I want to battle for it. So I don't know if you saw that huge sturgeon he caught the other day. Like, I mean, that thing was a beast. It was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 foot long sturgeon they caught.
Those are some cool looking dinosaur fish. I know that.
For sure.
I've obviously never been fishing for them over here in Florida. They're not nowhere to be found here, but that could be something to put on a bucket list.
For sure. Yeah. I told him, I was like, you got to go to Florida and go fish with you out in the salt. So saltwater is where you enjoy fishing for, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I catch my fair share of bass and fucking around in some freshwater lakes and stuff. Especially with the kids, it's fun. But you know, salt life for me, baby.
You have your own boat and all that, or?
Dude, I do. It's funny how my friends they grew up, they became captains. I always thought I would do the same thing. Started fighting, thought I'd have all the time in the world to go fishing. That was the biggest lie I've ever told myself.
So I'm going to start right off the bat. So one of your people that know you said that they had heard that your dream was to become the champion, so that you'd be able to fish every day for the rest of your life. Like,
Yeah,
the only
pretty
reason you got into fighting so that you could fish every day. And they said that you haven't been fishing in a month.
Uh, you were talking to Rick.
I was
Yeah, man.
talking to Rick.
It's one of those things, like I obviously, I work hard, and I get maybe like one day a week that I get to go do something for myself. And today I chose to go dirt biking. The past week I was on vacation. The week before that I was hunting. So it's like it's it's hard to find time, and I just squeak it in where I can.
So I did see the hunting. Is waterfowl hunting your jam, or like all different sorts of hunting, or?
All different sorts. I'm fairly new to it. I've been doing it a couple years now, but um, just just walking out there. My favorite is just like stalking, like just walking through the woods and running up on some pigs or something. So far, that's been the most exciting for me for sure.
I had a buddy. I have a buddy down there who owns a gator farm, and his new thing is he goes out and he's got a dog, and they go out and they catch pigs and they kill the
Yeah.
pigs to feed to the gators and crocodiles, and it looks like a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, I like to eat what I kill, but I mean,
Sure,
if, as long as something's eating it, I guess that works. And I know they're a nuisance. A lot of people don't like them, and
sure,
I've been learning a lot. So it's getting easy and easier to pull that trigger on the pigs for sure.
for sure. Okay, so how did you get into fighting? I mean, like fresh out of school, or like you just fell into it,
You
or?
know, so my senior year, I finally got convinced to try out on the wrestling team, and it was about halfway through the season. And that's pretty much when I found out I had like I was a natural, so to speak, at like the combat side of stuff. Like I was really good. I wound up beating the kid who placed fifth in states, and I was only literally a half a season wrestler. So from there, I went back and I was teaching a little bit, and it kind of made me miss, competing. So I was trying to find some local tournaments. I would do those, but those guys, I was running into a bunch of older people who didn't take it seriously. So I was itching for some competition, and I went to jujitsu, doing those competitions. That led to kickboxing, that led to MMA, and MMA led here, and the rest is history.
So could you imagine when you first started out being able to turn down fights because you didn't think somebody had enough popularity? Like, it's insane, kind of like how combat sports has now gotten to a point where.
Yeah, it's completely changed, I mean, or maybe they just did a really good job of hiding that stuff back in the day. People weren't as aware of everything that was going on, especially myself, you know, being just a casual fan. You don't see the same stuff, but, you know, I definitely coming through or coming up, I always thought it was just about who was the best. You know, if you were the
Sure.
best, that's when, you know, you were, so to speak, gonna become popular. And now it seems like it's just a popularity contest. It doesn't matter if you can actually fight or not, as long as you got a following and people want to watch, then you're good to go, and you can claim to be whatever it is you want to be.
It is weird because you have these people that are top tier fighters, and you have people that are like, oh, I have a YouTube channel, and suddenly the YouTube channel guy is so much more popular than a dude who would smoke that guy all day long. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not hating on it. I guess, you know, I get it. You know, views and money and people paying, and but I mean, I'm gonna just stay true to who I am, and I'm gonna keep being me like I was from day one. So
So you've been adamant about calling out Mike Perry. Do you think that fight will ever happen? And my question though is, do you think Mike Perry is ducking you, or is BKFC keeping him from you?
I think it's a little bit of both. If I'm gonna be completely honest, I feel like he knows that I'm a hard fight. Whether or not he feels like he could win or whatever, he knows that if he fights me, he's got a true fight on his hands. And if
Sure.
he loses, it completely destroys his stock. You know, so he would much rather fight somebody else who is easy to beat up and make money than actually have to fight a real fighter, which is just kind of what bugs me about the situation. Like, if you want to claim to be the best, the king of violence, and you love getting hit, well, fight somebody who can hit you, you know? And then as far as BKFC goes, I believe that they actually want to see the fight, but again, it's just got to make sense as it's business, and I completely understand that. So, you know, pretty soon my name's growing. It's already out there. People want to see it. You know, the owners want to see it. So I say if he's got a 4-fight contract, I'm going to see him towards the end of his contract.
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to ask you another question that came from somebody in the Shift family or somebody that knows you. So Goon would like to know, who do you think would win in a fight between you and him?
Man, I would slap that fool.
So he said you might say that, but he wanted to remind you that he was able to submit you.
He wanted to remind me that he tried to pull my pinky toe off my foot.
Yeah, that's I heard like it was like a pretty nasty toe twist.
No small joint manipulation, Bill. That don't count.
So who is Goon?
That's my boy. So I pretty much have known him since the beginning of my career as well, and he's been there for me. He's a good buddy of mine.
I made a post like it was after your last fight, and I made a post asking like where the hell the water bottle came flying in, and then he just started fighting so much with Coltrane's family, and I was like, this guy, I wasn't sure if it was an actual brother or somebody who like trained with you for a long time.
I mean, you wouldn't know the difference just looking at us. We're both Asian, but but yeah, he's just a good friend of mine. But he's like my brother for sure.
Okay, so I have another Shift family question. So this one comes from Jared Warren, and he says, "Has your wife gotten in more, less, or the same amount of fights as you during your fight nights?"
Definitely less. It just depends on the opponent's family, I guess. If they want to run their mouth, chuck water bottles, that seems to piss her off.
So so is she somebody like my wife has never been in a fist fight? So is your wife been in a fist fight before, or she
Oh
just
yeah.
like gets? Oh yeah, okay,
Oh yeah.
all
She don't
right.
give a fuck.
That's funny. So I mean, it's great that she's so passionate that she like stands up for you and we're ready to go at a moment's notice. Does your wife try to go to the majority of your fights, or
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're getting a call? Oh, there you are. You're good. You said absolutely, and then I miss it because I think you got a call.
Yeah. My bad. My sister's trying to beep and I have my nephew over. She probably wants him home soon.
Oh,
But
no worries, no worries. Okay, so where did the nickname Redneck come from? Did you give it yourself, or people gave it to you, or
Jihad. Jihad
Jihad?
and the shift team, man. I had another nickname that was given to me by a different coach, and it's just I didn't like it very much. And then he's always saying, calling me a redneck anyway. So it kind of just stuck, and we just took off with it.
Did could you share your old nickname that you don't like, or you want to keep it quiet?
I'm gonna keep that one to myself.
I gotcha. So how did you end up teaming up with Shift? I mean, Shift is taking over the world, so.
Back in my amateur days, you're new to the sport, so to speak, and you see different things, and especially when you're fighting. Like I was fighting, and I was fighting a guy named Cam Taylor, who's also one of my buddies now. And I just remember going in there, and I wound up winning the fight still. But I remember going in there and being like, "Wow, like this guy's doing something that I've never seen before." I felt a completely different anxiety on my side. I'm like, "Well, I want to see what the hell they got going on." And at the time, he was training at it was like Gracie Tampa West. So I went over there. That's when I ran into Martin Brown, who I call Trey, and
Sure.
he was he was under jihad, and it's just how it all kind of came into play. But I'm sure I'm glad it did. I remember working, I was only working 1 week with Trey, and I took a fight and I got my very first knockout. And when I say I flatlined the kid, like I looked like I clotheslined his ass. It was insane. 34 seconds and just put him right out.
And so you've just been hooked ever since then, huh? That's pretty
yeah.
cool. Who do you? I see you guys like you guys have like big fights. Like when it's time to train. Like I mean, you guys have so many killers in that gym. Do you feel like that's what gives you the advantage? Is all the guys that you train with, or?
It absolutely helps, especially when we're all on camp at the same time. It just makes it easier. You have, an accountability partner. You got somebody else who, is going to keep you sharp, because if you start slacking off or doing something, you're going to get beat up. And nobody wants to get beat up. So you're just
Sure.
going to push harder. And, as everyone says, iron sharpens iron. And when we all get in there and we're grinding, man, nobody wants to be in last place. So we push hard.
Okay, so when we interviewed the three-headed shark, we interviewed the three coaches. They had said that there's talks of down the line you and Jared switching weights because you're tired of cutting weight and he actually has no problem cutting weight. So is that
Listen,
something?
I walk around at 210 pounds. All right,
Okay.
that's my normal. Like I'm not eating crazy. I'm just eating normal and training a little bit. Right. So right now I'm about 210. So getting ready to start camp, and I'll get down to like maybe 205. And when I really start cutting weight, I might get down to like 195, and then I cut the rest to 175.
Wow.
And then when I go back into the fight, I'm almost like 200 pounds. Jared, on the other hand, walks around at 195. He cuts down to 185, and then he goes back in the ring at 195. So
Right.
not only do I fight underneath him, I weigh more than he does when I fight. So it's just like, I'm like, come on now. Granted, I'm a little fluffier than he is. He's a lot leaner than I am. So he gives me that excuse. It's harder for him to cut weight. But we always go back and forth messing around with each other about that, because I would love to have the 85 class, but I'm it's his. If he wants it, it's his. I don't want no smoke, and I will stay at 75, and then if I really want to be heavy, I'll take the 205-pound belt just so I can hold the belt below and above him, because I think that would be hilarious.
That would actually be really funny. Okay, so speaking of fluffy and food, Carrabba's or Olive Garden?
Oh, I know you. I know. I'm assuming you've already talked to everyone. I'm superstitious, if you haven't noticed. So we're gonna hit Olive Garden now. If we're just going out like right now, you're like, hey, let's go out to eat. Well, I'm gonna go to Carrabba's. But for whatever reason, Olive Garden and endless breadsticks right after weigh-ins is just where it's at. I don't know why, but that's what works for me, and that's what we're sticking with.
I was told you could open a map and see like a state and you know where every Olive Garden's at. Like I heard like Olive Garden. I was told that you could find an Olive Garden in Italy, is what I was told.
I say me personally, or just anybody?
No, you. Like because I was told that you love Olive Garden that much.
The second I know where we're fighting, like I'm already looking up, because like I said, I'm superstitious. I gotta have my same corners. I like the same people that've been with me since day one. They gotta be in there. I gotta go to the same place. I gotta do the same weight cut routine. It's just everything I've done has worked for me so far. If it's not broken, don't fix it. That's how I feel, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, so speaking of superstition, I'm a very superstitious person myself. Like outside of fighting, what are you superstitious about?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
That's what's funny about it, because I don't even. I mean, honestly, like it. I walk out to the same song even too. But like, if something came up, I would change it in a heartbeat. But if it's able to be done, if it's easy, then we just gonna stick with it. But it's just an ongoing inside joke at the moment.
So you're the redneck. Do you like country music? Do you like pretty country, like the country life, or?
Yeah, I mean, I listen to. Believe it or not, I don't listen to a lot of music. Like if I'm driving to work and I drive like an hour, driving to the gym, like I'm just cruising. I don't listen to anything. Um, but I listen to a little bit of everything because I have so many different kind of friends that
Okay.
just have all their own different personalities. So when I'm riding with somebody, that's they just gonna put their stuff on. I'm gonna listen to that. So
Okay, so another shift question. So we've seen how great your footwork is in the ring. Like you have great footwork. Why don't you ever use that for country line dancing?
um, listen, I don't dance. I don't know. I just don't dance.
Yeah, 300 was like, you got to ask him. He doesn't ever want to dance. I don't know what that's about. So
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know either. I mean, I people watch so much. I see some people out there who look like they shouldn't be out there, and I'm good. I'm good.
do you ever see yourself getting back into MMA, or you think bare knuckles kind of where you want to just stay until the end?
I'm happy with bare knuckle, man. I love it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the camps and the less taxing on my body. I feel like I'm more dominant striker, anyways, not having to worry about someone attached to you as soon as you touch them. Um, I'm I'm here to stay.
In your last fight, how worried were you that your fight was going to get stopped because you had that cut? Like, were you pretty nervous, or?
It wasn't the cut so much as the swelling. So when he tagged me, and it was weird. It was like I had just slipped, and it was such a stupid little punch that he threw. At the same time, I just kind of like almost headbutted his hand, and it like actually poked me in my eye pretty good. So I just remember like the vision was just gone on my left. Was just it was completely fucking weird. So I was like, oh shit, here we go. I got back to the corner, and then I could start feeling it at that point, and like I remember the doctor coming up to the ring, and I just kind of like did one of these, like just don't look over there, he won't bother me type of shit.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't look at this. And he's like, Dave, Dave, Dave. He's like, how many fingers you holding up? I just like look over. I'm like, two. Leave me alone. He's like, he's fine. So with that being said, though, I was like, all right, like this is not the way I'm gonna lose my belt. Like, it
Yeah.
ain't fucking happening. Like you're gonna have to knock me out because I'm coming forward now, and so I hit the gas, and so I was a little worried, but we made it happen.
Okay, so I thought we were gonna see you on a card sooner than later, but like it seems like right now BKFC is kind of in a stalemate, trying to get all their ducks in a row. So you said you're about to start camp soon. Like what time frame are you looking to fight? Like have they been approached you about a fight yet, or?
We haven't had anything set in stone yet. Of course, we're always kind of hearing things and just kind of preparing for stuff. I haven't heard any names though. That's my biggest thing. But I do think maybe in March, hopefully. I definitely think February is too soon
Sure.
for me. Just coming off the holidays with the family and stuff like that, I would like to give myself a little bit more time. So I'm shooting for March, and from there, it's just a matter of who. And because as everyone knows, I'm down to fight anybody. So just give me a name.
So March is big, but you have Knuckle Mania in California in April. Is that something that you're interested in, or like you the sooner the better?
No, I'm also at the point to where I want things to make sense.
Sure.
So fighting on a bigger card like that, where more eyes are on it, to me that makes more sense. So if they
Sure.
wanted me to wait till April to do that, absolutely not a big deal, and also gives me more time to get ready. I think last year I only fought twice, so I think I fought Richmond. I believe it was in July.
Okay.
That whole 6 months I wasn't doing anything. So if I fight anytime before July, I'm already ahead of schedule this year. So with that being said, March, April, early April, I'm good with any of it.
I can't lie. So my wife, she won one of the super fan things with the BKFC, so she gets to go to the Knuckle Mania in April, and she
Yeah.
hopes that you're on that card because she wants all the shift people to go because she wants to meet all you guys. So she's like, I hope Mundell makes that card, and I know Pittman.
Well,
There's a chance Pittman could be on it too, but like you,
there's a very good chance that regardless of whether I'm on it or not, that I'm going to show up, just be out there. I really enjoy. I went to the Utah card, and to obviously to watch Mike Perry because I was hoping to get a chance to go up there and slap the shit out of him, but they wouldn't let me in the ring. But I really enjoyed being able to go out and just to enjoy the fights instead of having to be in the back warming up, getting my mind right. So it was a nice change of pace, and I would definitely do that again.
so you're now in the top 5 pound for pound. Do you feel like you're starting to finally get respect on your name? And I feel like, and even though you got the one loss that I feel like shouldn't be there, I feel like like you finally are getting the respect you deserve.
Yeah, I mean that stuff doesn't really bother me. I don't care whether or not you think I'm good enough to be there, or if you think I'm top 5 or not. I feel like to me I got the best hands. Period. Like I may not be the most athletic, I may not be the toughest person, but one thing you're not gonna do is outwork me. So with that being said, I got a very high fight IQ, and the longer it takes people to know what I'm about, it doesn't really affect the course.
Okay, so you said you see them kind of protecting Mike Perry. So clearly he's not going to probably be your next fight. Is there a name that you are kind of looking for? I know you fight whoever the company puts, but is there like somebody like I feel like Coltrane came out of the blue. Is there somebody that you think is deserving that, or
There isn't anybody, and there's nobody on my radar. I feel like I've already cleaned out the division. There's some of the guys. I guess it all goes back to how many fights should you have before you get a chance to take a title shot.
Sure.
Obviously we can't just have somebody walk in off, from the UFC even and just fight for a title because that would be bullshit. But nobody in this sport or in actual BKFC either has, a number of fights or is on a good win streak. Well, I was 3-0 on a 3-0 streak and 2 finishes before I got a shot. So I don't know. We're gonna see what they put together for me, and we'll go from there. I would be all for jumping up a weight class and taking on one of those gimmick fights. Like give me one of those UFC guys, and we can just fight just to fight.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like like Palomino was able to get his next fight at the 165 belt, but I mean like that was kind of like it was kind of a gimmick fight because I mean whether you believe it or not, I mean Austin Trout, it only has the one fight, so a lot of people are like he shouldn't get a chance to fight for a belt, and now that they have the 165 open,
I think that kind of just fell in their lap, and it's almost at the point like, well, Palomino was the one who held the belt before. Now they're already fighting, so why not?
Sure.
So it kind of it makes sense. It's not a horrible thing there, but what are you gonna do?
I did like your idea of like you and Palomino fighting, and then the winner finally gets to fight Mike Perry. I thought I heard that the other day. I thought that made a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's how do I put that? It's kind of weird because I'm not one to like go calling people out and saying whatever, but we both have a common interest right now. Like we both want to fight Perry, and in my eyes, I just got to start pulling people out of the race. So if somebody else is in my way to get that fight, well, we can hash it out as we're waiting for Mike to finally grow some balls and fight one of us. So it's just what it is.
I do find that you're such a nice guy and you have a hard time shit talking, but you fight quite a few people that are shit talkers. Like, is that just extra motivation, or you're such a veteran at this point you don't care?
Nobody really talks shit to me either.
No.
I mean,
I thought Coltrane was talking quite a bit before you guys' fight.
He, not really.
No,
Not
okay.
really. I mean, everyone says there's like oh, I'm gonna win.
Your standard thing, yeah.
Yeah, and then even like Mike Richmond, I know he's not a shit talker, but he couldn't talk shit about me. He started talking about my coaches. Before that, Reese was we were buddies. Before that was Dave Simpson. The only thing he said was when we were up on stage weighing in, told me I was going to regret the fight. Before that was Grusfon, which he was quiet, and then even people like Julian Lane, who is known to be crazy.
Sure.
Just people know that like I'm a respectable person. Like there's no need for all the nonsense and we're gonna go in there and fight. So it it's also been a little bit of my own demise because obviously if I talked a little bit more shit, maybe I'd be more noticed. But people, like I said, they're starting to catch on.
So Feldman said during the one event that he's bringing in some WWE people to kind of train you guys on how to be you know, a heel or a superstar. Like, is that something you're honestly interested in, or like you've done
Yeah,
what?
absolutely. Because yeah, I mean, listen, I'm so busy, you know, between a full time job, I work, I got a family, you know, it's just I don't have time to sit there and be on social media, let alone figure out all the algorithms and when to post and
Sure.
trying to make a video. Like I have friends and stuff that help me out now, and it's gotten me to where I'm at in on there as well. But I mean, one of these other guys, it could be a career changer, you know. So I am super excited for that. I want to see what they have to offer. I want to see what that's about, and I want to see what it can do for me.
Okay, so speaking of jobs, we talked to Todd Duffy recently, and he said he felt like most prize fighters are it's more of a hobby than anything because like you know it's hard to make it a career. You have to actually have a job if you want to be successful that allows you
Yeah,
to be able. So what do you do for a job, and is that how you feel also, or
I'm an electrician, you know, so I do
okay?
electrical, and I work with my stepdad right now. So luckily enough, I get the time I need. I can get off early if I need to. My camps, if I need time off to go, you know, wherever to travel, I can get that. But it's also never really collided with each other before. Like it's one's never hindered the other. But I'm
Okay.
getting to a point where um, like the competition is going to start rising and I'm going to need more time to focus and things like that, and that also comes, you know, with the money side of things. I need to be making enough money to be comfortable my with, feed my family and live the lifestyle we already have and not go backwards, you know. So when that all goes through and I don't have to work no more, people people are really going to be surprised then.
So I think it's kind of interesting that you're an electrician. The other there's another BKFC champion, Mick Terrell. He's an electrician. So I find that like it must be a good paying job that allows you guys quite a bit of flexibility to fight.
Well, you know, it's one of those things that not everybody can do, you know, and it's nice to have enough work to actually be able to tell some people like, hey, listen, I don't have time to do this. You know, I got these jobs over here. I got to take care of this. I got, you know, our regular customers, you know, that we take care of first, and that's just how it goes.
Okay, so my last question from the Schiff family: is there any truth that you have a Hemi inside of your truck, your Chevy truck?
Hell no, I ain't no fucking Mopar faggot.
So if you can't tell, Rick was super passionate about giving me a bunch of questions for you. So 300 is a good dude. I like that guy. All right. Well, I don't know when we're going to see you again. Hopefully it's soon. Like I said, it'd be awesome if it's in April. Hopefully I'd get to meet you, and like, for sure my wife would get to meet you. And even if we don't, like we'll see you there, which sounds great. But if people want to follow you, is Instagram the best, or Facebook, or where would you
Yeah,
say?
follow me underneath Redneck Mundell. You know, keep up with everything that's going on. Get the, you know, the earliest I can release my information, I do, and can always see where I'm training and how that's going. And it's you know, it helps me out.
Okay, so I will be sure to include a link for that. And is there anybody you want to give a shout out to real quick before we end, or
Just my shift team, baby.
just Shift versus the world? Oh, Shift. All right. Well, thank you for your time. You're a huge celebrity on we love you on the Reddit. Everybody talks great about you. Jihad's on the Reddit. He says nothing but good things about you. So we appreciate it.
That's what's up.
I think, sir.